twice, 'cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, although we're not there.
At all.
It's Real Spoilers, episode 883, Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights is a great way to describe this movie.
So there's actually a pretty fun movie out this week called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Yeah,
with Sam
the one I
Rockwell.
recommended.
It's I saw it. It's a lot of fun.
That's the one.
But
Sam,
I really enjoyed the idea of making Joe sit through
God
Wuthering
damn it.
Heights.
It's the only. Yeah, I mean, we could have seen the good one, but
Or the Thor movie, the Chris Hemsworth
Crime 101.
Crime 101 apparently is a lot of fun as well.
But it's
well,
Valentine's Day weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, and we watched.
Love. here
There's
at Real
always
Spoilers.
times on this show where I feel like I'm gonna get set up, where you guys are gonna tell me to go see a movie, and then they're gonna be like, "By the way, we saw this one," and I was like, "You sons of bitches."
We've done that before, but we were just kidding. Remember? We did that to you before.
With
Where we
what?
convinced you. It was some movie like that, a musical or a romance movie where we sat down and we're like, no, we're doing whatever it was. This was hundreds of episodes ago.
Okay,
and you were like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, that's what we saw. And like, you got so mad. We were like, we're just joking.
That was the Into the Woods. I didn't know what Into the Woods was, and then I started watching it, and I was like, "God damn
Now,
it!"
I did tell Alamo to play the iambic pentameter version of this movie for you.
Oh, they
so
did it.
I don't know if
It was great. It was so great.
Man, Into the Woods was so frustrating because that play
it's so good.
That movie was
so
trash.
good.
That movie
so good.
sucks.
It was
so
trash.
good. But that play is, or the
Yeah.
movie is, it just didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work.
As soon as
Like,
Emily
there's-
Blunt started
only-
singing, I was like, "God damn it!"
The only good part is the Chris Pine when he's talking about agony.
Yeah.
That's a really good scene, and he does really well in that. But yeah, bad movie.
man.
yeah.
And I mean, that was James Corden, and see, we knew.
Yeah,
knew
we
early
called
on
it back then.
Uh huh.
Trash.
But so before we dig in, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast. You can find us. While you are there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. It is super helpful and greatly appreciated. You can also keep up with us throughout the week over on Facebook, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page. Join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers because we are hoping you will share an episode. People who were kind enough to share an episode this week include Jason McLean, Tammy Lynn Powers Betts, Chris Magic Man, Ralph Tribble, Tom Dowdy, Gabriel Lugo, Brendan McGuckin, Julianne Jordan, Michael Tonkovic, Richard Krotzer, Heather Sachs, Joe Faubert, Taylor Ward, Doug Boehner, Mike and Oscar, Ivan Alejandro, The Real Pete, Binge Movies, Geek to Me Radio, Nostalgia Cast, Ronnie Castle, In Session Film, Ryan Terry, Edit Photo Gamer, and Matt Naglia. Also, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers. $5 a month. You get ad-free episodes. You get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you a little extra.
and all of
I think Joe is gonna read chapter by chapter Wuthering Heights, right, for the next Patreon.
A dramatic reading.
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be.
He's gonna play all the
audiobook
characters.
style. It's gonna be. Who's the
Yeah.
guy? Who's the guy that does the Harry Potter books?
Oh, the British
That
guys.
guy's
The best.
good.
Jim Dale.
Jim Daly.
And I'll look it
They're
up. But
ve-
he's great.
he's
the British
crazy
ones.
good.
Yep.
I'm gonna do it like that. I'm gonna do all the voices. I'm gonna do everything.
Perfect. Jim Dale. No, that's the American one. I can't remember
No,
who
Jim
the
Dale's
British.
the one I'm talking about because he's also very. Though the American ones are very good.
American ones are fine, but you got the British reader, the narrator that's British. I'm telling you, is the way to go.
Is
I
that
just
right?
can't think of his name. Yeah. But he's gonna do that, but it's gonna be British. All the
Yeah,
characters
I'm
will
gonna
be
do
British.
the accents. I'm gonna do all the voices. I'm gonna do the sound effects. It'll be like an audio play.
Oh, Stephen Fry says he. I didn't realize it was Stephen Fry, but I
thought
mean,
it
we know
was,
him.
Monocle McCrumpet was the
Mike-
British
yes, that's-
narrator.
Then I've only
Potter.
listened to the American ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, Stephen Fry, who you know,
Absolutely, yeah.
it narrated all the British ones, and he does a really good job.
Okay. Man.
But Joe's going to be better than both of them.
yeah. Also,
Don't forget YouTube there.
yeah, on the Patreon.
Oh, hey.
I did a Scream retrospective with all of the Scream movies. I think we accidentally covered Scream more than once.
I just realized that movies,
realized
them new ones,
it's 2
coming
weeks.
out. Like, I feel it's so weird because they missed Halloween.
They did.
And so we were kind of like, oh, it's going to be out next year. But then it's out so early in this year that it's kind of like.
This is the first time I'm legitimately worried about the franchise itself because there was such a mess going into
after
this
that
movie.
last one. After
not even going into, like, not even that. Just like the Chris Landon coming on and then them firing Melissa Barrera and then Chris Landon being like, no, I don't want anything to do with this.
And Kevin Williamson directing.
Writing and directing, I think.
Well, right. But I mean, but him directing it.
And
it's
then
like,
Jenna Ortega being like, if she's not in it, I'm not in it. And then pivoting back to Sydney and her family. And
Stu's going to be in it.
Here's what I think, honestly. Because they're bringing back everybody. All of the killers are back.
Yeah.
I think it's all AI voice. I think the phone calls.
Oh, you think he's going to be using
voices.
technology to act? Okay.
Yeah,
now, okay, let me just before it comes out so we can get this on the record. If they bring Stu back and he survived his death in the first one, how will you feel?
Totally fine.
Really?
I feel totally fine with that because in 3, he was going to be the killer. So, like, there's already stuff out there that, like, he could have survived.
Okay, I thought I made the argument that maybe he wasn't dead. I thought you didn't like it when I made that argument last time.
No. I'm totally fine with him coming back.
Okay.
If he comes back,
interesting.
It would be
if
wild.
He comes back, okay.
And I'd be all right with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are all on the Patreon. 1 through 4 are up there.
Okay. So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in to Wuthering. Or if you prefer Wuthering.
Is this the most adapted? Man, I don't know. I feel like this. Watching this.
No way. Romeo and Juliet.
I guess that's true. They just went through. They went through all of these different adaptations of this.
Oh, there's been a ton. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But not all of them adapt the entire book.
No,
most
all
of them don't.
Yeah,
Where
all
do
of
they
them
stop?
but one.
They stop. Like most of them stop with the death of Kathy. Because the book is like, and I've never read the book. I've just done some reading about the book, so I could sound like I'm smart. And so the actual book is like this multi-generational tale that spans decades. And so this ends with Kathy having a miscarriage, but in the book she has a baby, and then you follow that baby, but that baby is actually, I guess, Heathcliff's, and so you
No, that's Edgar's baby.
I thought Heathcliff and Kathy end up having a baby. This is when with my Googling.
It's Edgar's baby. Kathy, they basically end up kidnapping Kathy, and and Heathcliff's child with the sister of Edgar end up getting married. They get married, so it's definitely not Heathcliff's. Yeah. Kathy is not Heathcliff's child.
Gotcha.
Whoa.
But yeah,
it goes on and on and on, and that I wanted to make the point that it's essentially I feel bad for anyone trying to adapt a famous book because one, it's very difficult, and when you have a book this beloved. Yeah. And people love this book, and a lot of them, and if you love this book, I'm not saying anything bad, but the fact is a lot of people make it like part of their personality. They read it at a young age. They read it all the time. They love the characters, you know what I mean? And so if you vary from what the book is trying to say, I mean, people are outraged over this movie.
Can I tell you, this is I have professed my love for An American Werewolf in London multiple times. I just got a joke from that movie because of this movie.
Oh, yeah. What's the joke? I don't remember.
The joke is when David and his friend are walking on the moors. They're talking about other stuff. And he's like, and Heathcliff was on the moors. And I thought they were talking about the cat,
the orange cat.
Yes, and I was like, that's such a weird thing. And then I
Heathcliff
saw this,
on the moors,
and I was looking at where they were and what this character's name was, and I was like, Oh, he's talking about Wuthering Heights.
Don't you
I
love that
just
when you're
literally like
when your like pop culture knowledge is formed by references in other pop culture and you don't get it until like
Did not get it at
20
all.
years later and you
No.
finally realize what they're talking
yes,
about.
yeah. I just learned that yesterday.
But it's okay. So most of the movies, with the exception of one adaptation, I think the Ralph Fiennes one actually goes into the kids, but most all of them focus on Heathcliff and Kathy. And so this is not that much different in that respect, whereas they usually tell it, because you're talking about a two-ish hour movie. In order to tell this generational tale, you would need a miniseries or a
right.
4.5 hour movie, right? And so they focus on the big romance, but these two characters aren't even like really the big part of the whole book, because again, it's about the kids and it's about the generational trauma, and the parents are jerks, or the brother's a jerk. They write the dad is like an amalgam of the brother and the dad in the book. So the brother is a jerk, and then he takes over the estate, and then he's mean to Heathcliff, and then Heathcliff ends up trying to get revenge on him, but now he's mean to his kids and their kids because he wants revenge. Like it's about like passing it on and the trauma through generations. And so to tell that story, you'd have to have a ton of time or a ton of episodes. And so Emerald Fennell chose to focus on the Heathcliff-Kathy romance, which most people do. But the movie's in quotes. Remember, this is Wuthering Heights in quotes.
Right.
It changes the story. And like Tom said, I mean, spoilers, but the big difference is the ending, where they basically cut it off from being able to have a sequel, being able to have, because the whole sequel's about the child that in this movie Kathy doesn't have.
Are people mad about that?
Yeah, they're mad. Yeah, they're mad about changing everything. I mean, so there's lots of controversy. In the book, it doesn't explicitly say what race Heathcliff is,
Oh, I
but
heard he's supposedly Hungarian in the book.
People have made arguments for that he could, because it's being written from an 1800s perspective in England, that being an outsider could be a lot different than a 2000s outsider in the US. You know what I mean? So they think he could even be Irish. I mean, that's like the argument of like, well, he could be white, but a different, but they say like
Emerald Fennell, is that the director of this?
Emerald Fennell, yeah, promising young woman,
Yes,
and
which is
Saltburn. Saltburn.
Okay,
which
so
I thought was great.
In Saltburn, nobody's likable, right?
Yeah, in the book, this book, Wuthering Heights, no one is likable.
Nobody's likable.
This is
in
not
this
a book.
movie.
You're not. They're not supposed to be though, Joe. She perfectly adapted. Then
I think that's
the book.
fine.
No,
but
yeah.
like where I struggle with that is like I kind of need somebody to root for.
And you don't get that because, see, that's the kids that they break the chain. They break the generation.
Did you like The Sopranos? There's nobody to root for. In
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
They're
But
all
I guess I feel like,
dirtbags.
but we've talked about that where it's like
The lesser of
you
two
are
evils.
kind of like Goodfellas or The Godfather. You're kind of rooting for the bad guy because they're fun to root for. All of these people suck. Like
Yes.
they're shitty to each other.
That's the point. So the book is supposed to be a commentary on class, I think, more than anything. And that's why I think she gets away with, the people that love the book do not believe she gets away with it. But I believe that you can get away with Heathcliff not being a person of color, or a lot of people think he's supposed to be Romani is the popular consensus. But anyway, the book's about class. Heathcliff is a poor person that is not able to be with Kathy. He's not, they basically adopt him as an orphan off the streets. The dad brings him home. I mean, much like in this movie, but the dad brings him home and he becomes essentially like a servant kind of thing, like they say, a plaything, a toy of Kathy's. So like he can never be with her by class. And that's the story. So no matter what, but people that love the book, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but like him also being a poor person of color would also further like his character and like the struggles he goes through and informs the character.
When you're reading the book, you're not rooting for any of these original characters. You're invested in the kids.
Yes, and this is the difference though. So in the book, Kathy dies when she's 18.
Okay.
Margot Robbie is more like 30-ish, and so when she's acting like a child, Kathy is a spoiled brat, petulant child, but she's a kid.
Is she supposed to be a kid in this, or is she supposed to be 30?
Oh, I don't think she's supposed to be a kid. I think she's supposed to be 30.
Okay.
I don't think she's playing a 16-year-old. That's not how I take it.
If she is, then there should have been something to indicate.
That's kind of what I was
like
thinking.
they should have given us some sort of indication.
I mean, I guess they do, right? Like they do say, like the dad says, you're however old and you're not married, you don't have children. and I guess I feel like the time period that it's set in, 18, 19 years old would be like
I think
a
he's
spinster, you know?
I think he's alluding that she's in her 20s and that she would be a spinster,
Okay.
which
That's
gets
how-
kind of
That's how I interpret it, but that's also not an effective way to communicate age because
Also, it's
we're,
Margot
we're
Robbie.
doing it with a modern eye of
Right.
like
Right.
what would be like old back
Yeah,
then.
But the point is though that Kathy, she dies in the book when she's 18. So everything up until then you're like, "Oh, she's a child." Your personality when you're 18, 16, 15 versus even 25, 28 is a lot different.
I've always been 58. Always.
So
I was going the opposite way. Mine hasn't changed at all.
So I think people are really turned off by the fact that she's such a bratty, spoiled, like bad person. And it's like, but she's older than in the books. Like she doesn't really have the excuse of being that young.
Also, it's Margot Robbie. Like,
Yeah.
if she walks into town, she's gonna have men falling at her feet.
Well, I think that's why she gets the rich guy, right? Because like even though she has like pig blood all over her skirts.
Yeah, right.
And she's just walked 5 miles, remember, through the forest, and yet he sees her and he's like, "Well, how do you do?"
Well, she is like.
May I help you?
It is a very. I will say this movie does have some very funny comedic beats that I was not
There are
expecting.
some moments that were laugh out loud funny.
Yeah,
but,
Yes. Is that
and it
in
was
the
funny,
book, or is it just the way that they do this?
I think it's the way they do it because most of the funny parts were honestly other people's reactions to what was going
Yes.
on. They
Yeah.
would cut to somebody and you'd see the look on their face that was just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yes.
And it was really funny. But I know you said, Kevin, that this has some controversy because of how much they change. Is there any controversy surrounding how boring it is?
I hope so.
No.
So boring.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people think that it's slow. I personally did not feel that way, but it is a slow movie. So if you're looking for a lot going on, I think that's part of the reason why they spice it up. In the book, they're this again, Joe, 1840s. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
they don't write
right.
about sex scenes in the mid 1800s, but there's no sex scenes, and Heathcliff and Kathy kiss once.
That's
so
how you get pregnant, Kevin.
No, well, I know, and that's what
Correct,
happened.
yeah.
So no, but so in this movie, they definitely are playing it up for a more modern, and again, Wuthering Heights in quotes. They're playing it up for the more modern reader, the book reader, the romance reader, and obviously playing up that they can't keep their hands off of one another. A lot of people are saying that's controversial, and it undermines the whole thing that they're star-crossed lovers and they can never be together, but yet they hook up all the time. But I still think that in the movie that's effective. It's like no matter what, like what they're doing, and they, Kathy keeps saying we have to stop this. Like it only gets you so far, but you
I
can't
think
be
it-
together.
honestly,
That's the tragedy of
I
it.
think it helps with their toxicity for each other. Like I think if they don't hook up, then you do get the Romeo and Juliet star-crossed lovers kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you allow them to have sex with each other, then you can kind of see even more so how toxic they are.
Yeah,
with each
they're
other.
awful.
They're
They're
awful.
awful.
They're awful.
Now I do think Heathcliff has a reason to be hurt. I'm not
What?
saying that is Heathcliff.
I mean, that's fine, but when you take the other person's, like, I don't know what that girl is to him. What is that girl to
What do you mean? It's Edgar's sister. Well, his ward, but I mean, they're in the book. I believe she's really his sister, but essentially they're raised
when
as
you
brother
take
sister.
that girl
Yeah.
and you literally break her down to nothing, and then like I don't know.
But
how
I
you-
do think it was really interesting. I like how they showed the consent of it, though, because
That's true.
That's a very modern thing. But in
Yeah.
the sense of he literally is like, "I'm telling you, I will never love
I'm
you.
going
I
to
will
treat
never
you
care
like-
about you." And
Do
he
you
says,
want me
"Do
to
you-"
stop?
Yeah, and like I mean, he does, and I think that's really kind of cool that she modernized it in a consent way in modern times, but with back then, and she's basically like, "I don't care, you're hot."
And that girl is weird from the get.
Yeah.
She is weird from the get. She's
And
actually-
honestly, she's the VIP of this movie.
Absolutely. Now,
Like,
have you seen?
She is very funny.
She was in a show on HBO. It was like, did you see The Mayor of Easttown?
I did.
So this is like the offshoot of that with Mark Ruffalo,
Oh, okay.
where they're
The mayor of Westtown.
the mayor. No, but it's Mark Ruffalo.
Is that what is that like Task or whatever?
Yes,
Is that a spinoff of Married?
It's in the same part of the country. Like it's in the same part of the United States.
Oh, it's from the creator of. I see.
So they've got the same accents. They've got the same.
Okay, but
Okay.
it's not like a
No.
sequel. Okay.
No, like Kate Winslet is not like a.
Because that took place in like Philadelphia. Is that where that
Yeah,
was at?
it says Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. But
So it's in
that
the
girl
it's
is
in
in
the
that.
it's in the Maraverse, is what you're saying? Is that
Maraverse,
they
yeah.
some where there's probably hints of like the same name is in there somewhere.
I don't even know they reference because Mark Ruffalo is a Fed, and Kate Winslet's just like a town, like a cop.
Right.
But
right.
she's on that. She's on the first season of that, and she's
Okay.
very good on that as well.
Okay. Yeah, she's good. But yeah, but just so the characters in the book are not good people, and the whole point is that it's just the whole thing like where your parents are bad and you're like, I'm never gonna be like my parents, and then you end up doing exactly what your parents do, right? Like it's like someone has to break the chain, and eventually through all this turmoil and torment and heartbreak and hardship, all this, the kids end up being okay after Heathcliff. But like Heathcliff is a jerk. He's a bad person in the entire time. So Jacob Elordi, I think his personality is kind of playing like what he will become in the future.
Has that guy ever played a good person?
Elvis.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yep. No, wait. But hold on. In Saltburn, I mean, he's a rich kid, but I don't think he was bad.
Yeah, like,
in Saltburn.
ultimately-
Bag in that movie,
What?
though, isn't he?
I'm trying to remember. I remember it as like he's rich and entitled, but at his core, like
kind of
he
a dope,
wasn't
maybe?
Yeah,
wasn't
I
like
don't-
awful.
He's
that's how
awful
I
in
remember it.
Euphoria.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yes.
I remember it in Saltburn where it's like, yeah, he's a rich prick, but like he didn't deserve to like die or anything. Like he was.
Wait, did he just play Frankenstein?
He did play
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. That's
Oh,
true.
Frankenstein,
That's true.
see?
He's just a
Frankenstein's not a
misunderstood.
jerk.
He's not the who's the real monster.
Who is the real
Yeah.
monster?
Dude, I saw the preview for
what do you
Bride.
think about that?
Holy crap, that looks incredible.
I don't know what to think about it because
I
it
think
looks.
that-
was like,
I don't know. I don't
That
know.
is one of my most. I mean, I don't see a lot of previews, but you know, it was before this movie, and I was blown away. That visually directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, starring Maggie Gyllenhaal.
No, Maggie Gyllenhaal's not in it, is she?
She's not in it. I thought
No,
she was
I
in it.
don't
Or
think so.
Jake
Jake
Gyllenhaal's in it.
Gyllenhaal's in
Is Maggie Gyllenhaal not in that
I
movie?
don't think so. She's not the bride.
I'll look it up. I thought she was in it too.
No,
But anyway, okay. Well, Jessie Buckley
Jessie
plays
Buckley.
the bride, and Jessie Buckley we know is Hamnet. I
that's
know
what
Tom's.
I thought she was from.
But you know, maybe it's just Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. I thought she had a
Jake
starring,
Gyllenhaal's
but
definitely in it.
he is. I thought they were both in it somewhere. Okay, but anyway, it looks to me at least visually, the cinematography, the you know, the set design, the costumes, everything. That looks like a lot of fun. Christian Bale is Frankenstein's monster.
I don't know. To me, I was just like, this looks bad.
It could
looks
be
like,
real. It could be.
I mean, it's a big swing, so it's
It
either going to
is,
be
yeah.
yeah.
amazing because it's just got its own weird like mindset
Yeah.
that you got to get into, or it's going to just be a dog. Like I'm
right there with you.
low key dreading it.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. I hope it proves you wrong. I hope that it
I
ends
hope
up
they
being
all
good.
prove me wrong.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah. I just
Even the Fast
but I
and
wanna
Furious movies. Tom wants those to succeed.
That'd be great.
we
Make
wouldn't
a
want to
good
watch
one.
that. Yeah.
Be a nice change of pace.
But when I see a movie like that, though, we've talked about it time and time again. I don't want to see the same old crap. That looks exciting to me because it looks different, and it is a big swing. It could be bad, but it could end up being really cool.
It's like, what if Frankenstein was Bonnie and Clyde?
That's
there
exactly
you go,
it.
yeah. But it looks
exactly
like something stylistically like a Moulin Rouge or Great Gatsby or one of those type. Like we talked about Baz Luhrmann last week. It looks like the style of something that is very frenetic, very exciting, and it just has its own style. And I'm excited to see what they do. But back to this one. Do you want to talk about the story, Joe?
Yeah, so the
of this
story's
movie?
pretty. I mean, we've kind of covered it. Is Jacob Elordi is we see Heathcliff as a small boy, and he is brought back to Wuthering Heights by Catherine, who is Margot Robbie's dad. Sees him being abused by his own father, and is like, "Hey, don't do that to that kid. I'll take him," and takes
And then
the kid.
he abuses him.
Correct.
He's like, you're abusing him all wrong.
Yeah.
There's
Let me show
a
you how
much
it's
more
done.
efficient and cost-effective way to abuse a
Right,
child.
right.
Let me show you.
Now, I do think maybe the situation with their dad was better than what he came from, but you're right.
A
It
lesser
was
of two evils, if you will.
a lesser of two evils. Now, we should say that Kathy's dad was a drunk and a gambler, and so I think that he was pretty nice until he got drunk, and he got drunk a lot. So he would lash out, and a lot of times Heathcliff ended up taking the brunt of that, protecting Kathy from it, and that's where the romantic angle is played up. That since they were young, he protected her and cared for her, and kept her out of trouble.
Right, and I like the line where the housemaids are all kind of like, how long is this kid staying here? And they're like, as long as I say. And they're just like, cool. And they
now Nelly, you say MVP is Isabel. I thought Nelly, played by Chau, who is in Downsizing. I love that movie. I love that one.
The Menu.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. She's in The Menu. She's in Downsizing.
No, she's really good. I was honestly like, I want to see the Isabella version of this story, because she was the one that I was just like, well, she's crazy, and I'm here for it.
When she's barking, tied up.
On and so that's the problem, right? Like, that dude broke her down to the point.
But Nelly's like, let me take you home, and she's like, I am home. Like, she was into it for whatever.
Here's the thing. I think she was into it to a point. I think he broke her. I mean, we see that at the end, right? At the very end of this movie, when Nelly is like dragging Isabel away from the house, he's broken her brain to the point where it's like this. She will never recover.
I think you make a good argument. I'm not saying that he didn't have any negative effects, but again, I just like that they played in the fact where he's on Front Street. He's like,
she seemed to go into it very open to being broken.
I don't disagree.
And so, like, I kind of landed the same place Kevin did, with like, for whatever reason, this is her jam.
Yeah.
And so, like, it might look weird to us, but she seems to be cool with it.
There was another. I always kind of forget how big Jacob Elordi is.
Oh, he's huge. Yeah.
There's the scene when he grabs Margot Robbie by like her.
Yeah.
Corset,
pulls her
like,
up to him and then lets her down.
Then like the camera kind of pulls back, and you see that like he's legitimately just holding her in the air.
Yeah.
And her feet are just like dangling. And I always forget that he is a massive
6'5".
Okay, maybe it's not
That's
as
pretty
tall as I thought.
That's tall,
It
though.
is tall, I guess, but
I mean, Margot Robbie's probably under
5'5".
Yeah, she's probably
Maybe.
exactly something like that. So it's a big difference.
So they grow up together, and they don't really get into.
She's
their-
5'6".
There you go.
Yeah, all right.
It's about a foot, almost a foot taller. That's a big difference.
They don't really get into the feelings. They treat each other like a brother and sister.
Yeah.
Even when they're older.
Well, I wouldn't say when they're older necessarily.
Well,
They're
when
brother
he
and
walks
sister.
up on her, like, that's a little bit different. But up until that
But until
point,
then, yeah.
Yeah.
everything is kind of chill until Margot Robbie. I think they get into a fight, and then she goes to go talk to him, and in the process, she sees two of the other like helpers at Wuthering Heights, like getting into some, like putting on like a bright like a horse bit and stuff.
They're
And
banging one out.
Oh, they were, and he
But,
kind of
like, it's got a BDSM vibe to it.
absolutely it does.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe is part of the book. I mean, that is, again, one of those more modern. I mean, the book doesn't, again, the time it was written, they don't talk about the sex. Like, it's inferred, but they don't have any scenes where they explain it. So that's more of they're trying to hype up her awakening to something.
Oh,
she got to the
does.
advanced course real quick.
She went to the honors course immediately. But she starts to make a noise, and he lays on top of her and wraps one hand around her throat and then another hand around her eyes.
As one does.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, the gloves are off. Like, you have unlocked the demon. So she kind of, the next day, she's replaying everything in her mind, and she goes to take care of a little business. And Heathcliff kind of walks up behind her, and he wasn't going to say a damn thing until he kicked the rocks. And then she was like, hey. There was a scene.
One of the things that irritates me the most about this movie is how hyped up it is for, like, how horned up this movie is.
Yeah.
And, like, everybody has sex fully clothed.
And that can't be comfortable in those clothes.
I'm like, what?
The
what are we
marketing
doing?
did it a disservice in the fact that they played it up like it was a 50 Shades hyper-sexualized movie.
Yeah.
And it really isn't. But again, the book isn't either. Like, the book doesn't have anything. And this
but it
movie
makes it sound like this is what the modern interpretation is we're going to show you all the sex that the book wouldn't talk about because it was written pre-Civil War.
Right. But they don't really show it.
But it's like, and really, there's the barn scene, there's her rubbing one out on the rocks, and then there's the montage. But beyond that, I guess the one scene where she has very mediocre sex with her husband.
Correct.
But
that's kind of the montage too, though. But like, okay, when she agrees to go with Edgar and is skipping forward, life is not great. The two of them, and I think Joe, to your point, like things aren't really chill. I think maybe even Kathy thinks they're chill, but Heathcliff loves her, and we find out at the end of the movie he's loved her since they were kids, and he looks at her and just knows they can never be together. So he would love to be with her the whole time, but she's...
I will also say these books like this, movies like this, they do this thing where it's like he's loved her since childhood, and apparently that's because literally there are no other human beings in this world.
There was one other woman that we saw.
There is no one else his age that he will ever interact with.
Yeah.
And when he finally meets her, then he turns her into a dog.
Right. Yeah, right.
But he doesn't know how to act around people.
There are no other people. Of course you're in love with this woman. You've never met anyone else.
Yeah.
The one woman you've met is Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that when you're a servant at an estate out in the middle of nowhere kind of thing, like you probably don't interact with a lot of people unless you're one of the people that goes to town to get supplies or whatever. But I mean, I don't know how often they are going to see people, honestly, in the middle of nowhere like that. They live in Wuthering Heights like that. They don't leave.
No,
they don't even have day off. That's just
right.
But you're right. I mean,
my wife pointed this out. Is like, were these two estates side by side? Or a week's travel apart.
5
miles.
They're
5
miles. They said 5
miles. Because sometimes, like, you see them traversing it, and it's like, I walked over there, and I'm there. And other times, it's like, he's on his horse, riding for days like it's Lawrence of Arabia.
I agree. That's the thing that was a little strange is that Joe kind of alluded to it earlier. She gets in kind of a huff and is basically like, this life sucks. We have nothing. Everyone's crappy. The dad's horrible, getting drunk and sick and gambling our money away. And she basically goes through like them butchering a pig. It's all over her skirts. And she walks the 5 miles to the Grange, and she climbs up on the wall. She ends up falling.
That was a funny part. Isabella's like, it was disgusting. It was this awful creature.
And I really like the way that they set this up where Isabella talks about Romeo and Juliet, and she's explaining Romeo and Juliet to Edgar, who's, just losing interest but trying to be nice to his basically sister, talking about this story. But that's what this movie is, or this story. We're looking at it as star-crossed lovers that just can't, the stars never align for these two. And I like the foreshadowing, especially with the ending, that they just can't be together. But they find her, and Edgar is like, well, hello there.
Well, yeah, she falls, and of course she makes sure that she's got her bust out and ready to go, and flips her hair perfectly, and then as he opens the door, there she is sitting there.
But to your point, Margot Robbie could show up in a potato sack with her hair in dirt. I mean, it doesn't.
Especially if
on and a hoodie,
done. Especially if Heathcliff is Irish, because you know how they are about the potatoes.
They love potato family.
But in the book, she's attacked by his dogs, and she has to Edgar. But again, in the book, they're kids. So Edgar and Kathy go over to see, because they're like, our life sucks. Our parents are mean. This is horrible. And so as kids, they run over to check out the Grange. And then Heathcliff gets away. I'm sorry if I said Edgar. Heathcliff gets away. Kathy's attacked by dogs. And Edgar is the same age, but they're all kids. And so she comes back 5 weeks later, just like in this one. But she's like a little socialite now. They've dressed her up and they've fancied her up. And so that's
what the fight was about.
Yeah.
Is that he's out there chopping wood, and she's like, "What are you mad at me?" And he's like, "No, I got work to do."
Yeah. She basically, I mean, and that's what I mean when I say, like, he has the right to be mad, because one, I mean, he loves her and takes care of her, and then she goes and finds rich people and then leaves for 5 weeks. It's like he just feels like he's nothing to her, even though he's protected her and they've been together their whole lives. But it's like, oh, you're happy now with your rich lifestyle. Like, it sucks for him. It's just he has no future. And I think that's one of the reasons people get mad, is like, it's not just that he's poor, but then again, the race thing, and that how he's seen as lesser than, even beyond being poor. But I do think that if you're telling the story from a class perspective, which is at the end of the day what a lot of the book is about, I do think you still get the same point across, right? He's poor. He can never be up to marrying her, just like the dad says.
Do they ever explain where he got his money from?
No, but it's alluded to that it's like gambling. Kind of like the dad, how he loses all his money. They don't ever explain it, but I think it's inferred that maybe he did some gambling, however he got his money to gamble with, but then he ends up winning and essentially ends up taking over Wuthering Heights and the estate like in this movie. But that's how he kind of gets control of the estate and the kids and everything, is that they owe a debt to Heathcliff, so he takes over everything.
Okay.
And I will say, like, people see those big palatial estates and like you just assume those people are rich, but they are not. In a lot,
they're passed down generationally.
Yeah,
so
they're super expensive to run.
Can you imagine trying to heat a place like that?
Yeah, like even in the modern day, a lot of those people that are like low tier royalty, like they've got titles, they've got land, but like they are what we in America would refer to as house poor.
Sure.
Like they are struggling. I know that I think that's kind of how Diana was, Princess Diana.
Oh, okay.
Prior to being a princess, her family had royalty, and like, look, they had money compared to you and me,
right?
But to travel in those circles is also really expensive, and so it's not uncommon for like the elite to still be hand to mouth.
Yeah, I mean, look, you need a whole staff,
which is why the staff was so mad when he brings in Heathcliff, because they're like, bitch, you can't feed us.
Yeah,
right.
What are you doing with this kid?
We don't have enough funds to.
So he essentially has to turn into another servant, but this one you don't have to pay and really treat well, because again, he's just a kid you found on the streets. So like, what is he going to do? Right? He's not going to demand more income, more money. He's
the actor that plays Heathcliff's dad, that we see very briefly, plays one of the scariest villains I think I've ever seen on TV. He was on an episode of Luther.
He was just in the opening scene, right?
Yeah.
We see him walking with him. What actor is he? What's his name?
Oh, he was like, he played Luther was basically a procedural with an underlying story throughout.
Yeah.
And he plays one of the guys that Luther is after.
Okay.
And he is terrifying.
Gotcha.
In that show, terrifying.
I thought the dad was really good. So again, in the book, the dad isn't really that bad in the book. I mean, I could be misspeaking, but I don't think he's as bad. But the brother, Kathy has a brother, and the brother's awful. His name's Henley, I believe, and Henley is terrible. And when the dad ends up dying, Henley takes over, and he beats Heathcliff a lot. He abuses him, bullies him, and treats him like total crap. So Henley ends up having a kid, and then Heathcliff, because he takes over the estate, Henley's the one with the gambling debts, and so he ends up basically taking his house, taking over like control of the kid and everything, and treats the kid like crap, because that's how Henley treated Heathcliff. So that's the generational trauma being passed down. So they just
you could not adapt this.
That's what I'm saying, right? So like
there's no way.
That's why they don't.
There are some BBC miniseries.
A miniseries makes sense.
Isn't there a Tom Hardy one?
I think there is a Tom Hardy one.
He is in the 2009 or something. He's in
before he's Tom Hardy though, right? Like it's.
I think he was still Tom
he's
Hardy.
A little Tom Hardy.
So?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I think he was always Tom Hardy.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing
Before
that
he was Tom Hardy, he was Tom Burger Chef. A lot of people don't know that.
That's well done.
I call him Tom Carl's Jr. still to this
In
day.
some parts of the country, he is called Tom Carl Jr.
When I'm not in St. Louis,
yeah,
you know?
but well,
screw you, Panera.
He is Tom Hardy. Oh,
but
Panera can go.
Yeah,
it's like a running gag on the clip out how mad I am at Panera.
Just in general,
they're like, I don't get it. Like, it's St. Louis Bread Company.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
What it's called.
We like literally show them pictures. We're like, this is not called Panera here. They changed the name because they feel like St. Louis has no marketability.
So
I'm mad that I think they've changed them in all but one or two in St. Louis.
Yeah,
or called
they have.
Panera, and it sucks. So it's like, come on, we had that. They were started here. Call it St. Louis Bread
We
Co.
have so few things.
I know so
claim.
few things that come out of this damn city.
Yeah.
But I just think it's an impossible task to adapt most books, but especially a great work of literature that people claim is one of the greatest English written novels of all time. Like, try to adapt that in 2 hours. And so I think most people do it the way that she did. You have amalgams of characters, right? You combine them, you consolidate and everything. And I do think that the basic story is here. And I think they told, you get the idea of it. Now, the generational trauma thing you miss, and that is a huge part of the book. But again, in one movie, there's no way.
No.
Like, you just can't do the whole thing right. So it's a losing battle.
What's the guy's name? The other guy?
Which one? Edgar? The rich
Edgar.
guy? Linton?
So,
Edgar Linton?
Edgar Linton comes back
The
to...
only person in the movie that doesn't seem like a
He's
deranged lunatic.
I thought
He's a
the
good
same
person.
thing. Same.
There's nothing wrong with Edgar. He is a good person, and I think he gives her a lot of grace and a lot of leeway,
Especially for back then.
even when he knows what's kind of going on. So Edgar's a good guy. There's no
So he comes knocking around, and he was like, "Hey, I want to marry you," and she said, "Of course, yes, I'll do it."
Well, she's very hesitant, Joe. She doesn't say yes, of course.
That's fair,
she
that's fair.
really.
She says when
to Nelly, she
when
says,
Nelly
"Of course,
says,
I."
What did you say? She's like, "Of course, I said yes."
Yeah, but I mean, it's she at this point really is starting to realize her feelings for Heathcliff are more than just that like sibling relationship.
Because they had that interaction on the moors.
Or yeah, what you didn't mention was after she had her little time, he came up and sampled that time.
There's also a scene later when he comes back and he's
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the couch. I didn't notice it at first, but when he's sitting on the couch and they're talking, he starts rubbing his fingers together. Like he puts his hand is down like this on video, and he starts like doing this.
Oh,
like
that's
like
uncomfortable.
to her face, and she's like, "I gotta go."
I didn't. Oh wow, I did not
like
notice
when
that. Oh my gosh,
when he first
that's
walks
funny.
back into her life,
Yeah.
like, and he's sitting on the couch, and they're asking him about all this different stuff, and he is antagonizing the shit out of her.
Oh yeah, he's messing with her. Now what we should say is after she goes to be with Edgar, she's talking to Nelly. Yeah. Nelly sees Heathcliff outside walking by, and she knows he's there, and she purposefully starts speaking louder. So what is Nelly's
motivation there, though?
Nelly is a bastard, essentially. Her dad.
Nothing, Jon Snow.
Her dad was a royal who had her out of wedlock. Her mother was a commoner, and so that would be shameful in these times. And so she was sent to live as a servant at
the Wall,
Wuthering Heights. Yeah. So, but I mean, so she was sent away. So she should be a noble person because of her lineage, but yet she was sent away. So she's jealous of the way that Kathy gets to just do whatever she wants and is treated well when that should be her life. And she's a servant. So, right. She's not as low as a servant.
Right.
She is kind of like her friend. But once she gets Heathcliff basically steals Kathy away from her. She was the best friend. And then now she loves Heathcliff, and is playing with him and doing all this stuff. And now Kathy Nelly sits around and reads books and just kind of watches from the outside. So I think she's jealous of Kathy. She's jealous of Heathcliff, and she isn't living the life that she feels entitled to. So she sees Heathcliff and knows he's listening, and she starts speaking up like, "Oh, well, you can never be with Heathcliff," all this stuff. And Kathy ends up saying something really hurtful to Heathcliff. She says like, I could never marry him.
He would
he's beneath me, whatever. Yeah. And so he hears that part, but what he didn't hear was the part before and after where Kathy says like, "I don't know what to do because I'm in love with Heathcliff and I want to be with him." And then the next day she goes, "I'm going to call it off with Edgar." Like she's really thought about this and wants to make the right decision. But at that point they're like, Heathcliff stole the horse. He's gone,
man. He's gone.
So, I mean, he has a right to be hurt, and it sounded really bad, but again, he never knew her intentions for at least 5 years. So, like, he's now living his whole life thinking that Kathy betrayed him and is cruel and, just looks down on him.
And then he comes back, and he shaves his beard and he cuts his hair.
Yeah.
Glow up.
Well, he got the glow up. It was a interesting. So there was like a trick that Margot Robbie played on Jacob Elordi, where like he kind of threw her into a tree and left her there. And when he goes to bed, he goes and sits on his bed and he squishes a bunch of eggs. Again,
that was a pretty good trick
until
for the
he starts
1800s.
molesting the eggs.
Well,
when he was,
those eggs probably put this movie over budget by 30%.
They probably did, given the price of eggs.
Twice.
Yeah,
They do it twice.
Twice.
It's not a cheap effect.
but I thought that was a really good way to show he was back, though. That was pretty
I
cool.
think that
she
there was an audible gasp in the theater
Yeah.
when she's
yeah.
going 5 years and she goes.
She's
to sit
living a
down.
very humdrum life. I mean, she's rich. She has access to this beautiful house and the beautiful outfits and servants and food. You know, the dining table is like that. It's like a Bruce Wayne and Vicky Vale
Yeah.
and Batman
Actually, you
sitting.
know what? I don't think I've ever been in this room before.
Yeah, they're sitting at the dining table sprawled with food and desserts and drinks and everything. So she has money, but she wants Heathcliff. That's the tragedy of the romance, is like none of this money is making her happy. She wants
I think
him.
she does
It always
become-
kills me in old-timey things like this. Like today, if you're going to show someone's wealth,
Yeah.
it's going to be with opulent displays of technology.
Sure.
Right?
Oh,
sure,
true.
They'll
sure.
have crazy big flat screens or really like,
Cars.
fancy
Cars,
cars, right,
yeah.
right. And back then it was like, I don't mean to brag, but I have
Food. Yeah, it is like that, and that's why like fat rich people were fat back then, because
Yeah.
they were the only ones that could afford food.
Yeah. Look at this
Yeah, I mean, if
nice
you think about it, like
dress.
the idea of food, only eating certain things when they're like in season.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like anybody under like 40 has never
No
even.
idea.
Yeah, like I mean, I remember when I was younger, because I'm older than you guys. I'm mid-50s, and I remember growing up. Somebody go to Florida, they better be bringing back some oranges in
Ah.
the winter.
Oh,
right?
interesting.
Like
Okay.
And it used to be you drive through Florida, there were orange stands on the side of the road everywhere
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people wanted oranges to bring back. Or if somebody went to Hawaii, you better believe they're coming back with pineapples. Like you couldn't just go to the grocery.
Yeah.
There was probably like a 6-week window where
Yeah.
you could buy pineapples in the contiguous United States.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like the mid to late 70s. Like that's not that long ago
No.
Thanks,
that you
genetics.
couldn't get food readily.
Yeah.
You know,
Now
Right,
you can get
yeah.
one right now if you want.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Yeah, pretty much anywhere,
You get all kinds
anytime.
of
Yeah.
different
get it at a
kinds of
gas
oranges.
station.
Right. So, but you're
I gotta
right.
tell
So
you,
they
carrot,
play the.
carrot oranges. That's the way to go.
Oh yeah.
Those are good.
Oh, okay. But you're right. It's a good little trick. So now 5 years later, she goes to her room. She's living this mundane life. She's just not
Oh.
happy.
That was the thing that made me laugh. Where he was like, I painted these walls to make it look like your skin.
Oh, man,
And there's
that's
your little
weird.
mole. And she like
Yeah.
leans up against the wall
And it's
and
squishy.
it's squishy.
It's her. It literally is
But
designed.
then
They took her face with the veins
She
and
looks
everything.
at the mole and then like touches her face.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a funny scene. That made me laugh. Where she's
It
like,
was.
that's gross.
But that's how much money he has, right? So Linton, Edgar Linton, I believe in this story is like he's in textiles. So he is getting probably the greatest textiles from France and all over the world, Italy, selling them to the noble people. So like he has so much money,
Yeah.
and that's his specialty is textiles. So he's able to form and have these walls made, and everything
he was
is
able
so
to make
opulent.
skin walls. That's not weird at all.
No, but every room in like this, the set design, the costumes are gorgeous. Like I think they're not necessarily period. Like people of course are picking it apart, whatever. But
I don't.
I
I would
she's
not consider it like costume wise. It's so over the top at times.
but it's opulent. It's very opulent. It's just to show his wealth
Right,
and
right.
how But she's not happy. But she sits in the bed and it's the same egg cracking and squishing noise as when she played the trick on Heathcliff.
Yeah.
And so he's there. And so she goes outside. Where are
She
you?
goes
And
back
she runs to the
back
moors.
to Wuthering
Yeah.
Heights. She's back to
The moors, right?
I don't think so. I think she's back at the Wuthering Heights because he's
I
like
don't
he's
know.
in like a
He is in like an
archway.
arch of somewhat,
which I thought was a
okay.
good like the reveal that he's there. It's foggy, you can't see anything, and just
great,
And
and he
just
steps
with like
out, yeah.
a gust of wind,
Yeah,
he makes out his silhouette, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
cool. Like that was a
And he's-
cool little.
yeah,
and
and
he's
he's fancy. She says
got
like
a
you're
golden
back and
tooth
you're
in it.
rich.
Yeah, he's got a golden
Yeah, like
tooth
I
and
I love that
earrings.
too because just like the way people dressed, you could tell wealth by that, right? I mean, the servants are all in rags and dirty, and just because he has like I don't know, a crevasse, whatever, he's got the coat and the scarf and
Ascot.
the cane, and it's like
Ascot.
Is it an
You
ascot?
know,
Okay,
you know why
like
I know that?
Scooby.
That's exactly it.
That's a
Yes.
but she's like and rich, like
Yeah, right, right.
visually you can tell like he's dressed like, oh, you're rich now. Not just you could buy some fancy clothes, but you're rich
You-
for
you
sure
got that-
based
you
on
got that money.
yeah.
So yeah, they go back and he's antagonizing her at the new estate, and he basically says, "I bought." She's like, "Where did your money go?" And he was like, "I don't know, couldn't tell you."
He basically doesn't talk.
He's
But he's
just
sitting
like
there smoking
he's
a
with her the whole time.
He is. And you look over at Edgar, and Edgar's like, oh, you never talked about your friend.
Yeah, you never talked about your strikingly
6'5"
handsome 6'5"
supermodel.
Also,
And suddenly rich.
yeah, the Shane Gillis joke about George Washington. Have you ever heard the joke about him?
Tell me.
Basically, how the reason we won the revolution is because George Washington was 6'1" or whatever. He's like, and back then that was 6'9". The guy was
he was
just huge.
charismatic and.
But Jacob Elordi, who is, if he's 6'5" and he in the 18 whatever,
Yeah.
he's in modern days. The guy's got to be think of it 7'2". He's
He's
this
1.08
massive,
Washington's high.
He's gonna be massive. He's this strikingly handsome man with his gold teeth, and has to duck to walk through any doorway because we've never built them big enough for a man his size. And then Isabel starts kind of feeling all aflutter.
Her to Tom's point and how good she is, her just googly eyes over Heathcliff the whole time.
Dropping her
so
her dress
funny when
over
she
her
actually lets her, which is so scandalous for the times to show your shoulder.
And then Margot
Seriously.
Robbie flips on a dime, and
she's
so mean.
jealous, of course, and she is awful again, in the book. But at this age, it is very unbecoming that she, at her position and at her age, would act this childish. But yeah, she starts being mean to Isabella. She starts being horrible to even Heathcliff, and she's just. But she's so jealous, right? She's like, that's my man. But it's but you made that choice.
I don't even know that she's saying it's because the scene when she's dying, when Catherine is dying, and she was like, no, he's mine. Basically, I own him. He's my thing. Not my partner, not the person that I love, but he's mine. I own him.
Yeah,
I gave him that name. He belongs to me.
It's
You know what I
definitely a very complicated thing. But, at the end of the day, and we know based on her conversation with Nelly, she loves Heathcliff. And they are star-crossed lovers. They can't be together, but that's her choice. And then to see him and not be able to be with him, in a relationship type, she's with him several times in this movie, but to not be able to be married to him and spend their life together. But also, at this point, I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, dude, just run away together, happily ever after. What kind of outcome was this? I know people didn't get divorced and all that.
I don't think they're gonna file.
But run away.
You could. It's so simple because even up until the 1950s, you could go from San Francisco to New York and be like, I'm this person now.
Right,
and there's no way to check. There's no way.
And I know it's not the story. We're not Emily Brontë. I totally get it, and that would really piss people off because it would be so different. But it's just as a viewer or reader, you're just oh my God, the outcome of what you did do is so horrible. It's you could have just literally left and spared everyone the pain and the agony. Edgar would get over it. He'd find someone else. Isabella wouldn't be brainwashed. She wouldn't die, at least not in that way.
Right.
Kathy, it just sucks that they literally could have done something, but I guess it felt very difficult at the time to leave.
Heathcliff is the person that ruins everyone's life.
Well,
he is the catalyst, though, right? If he doesn't come back,
but
Margot Robbie goes.
Kathy was depressed long before. I know that
I gotta disagree only a little bit. I think you're right. I think up until a point,
they show her getting it from behind, and she's just looking off into the distance. She's so unhappy.
I think there is a point where she is unhappy. I do think she became accustomed to her life. And she was accepting of where she was.
I don't think she would ever forget Heathcliff, though. I think 20 years later, even with her kid, whatever, I think that she'd be thinking of Heathcliff every day.
See that kind of when they're talking about they want to go to the town and watch a hanging, and I don't either Nelly or Isabel is.
It's Isabella, and she is
you should go. You would love to see this. It's. Basically alluding that the person being hung is Heathcliff.
Well, Kathy says, "Oh, I've always found them quite barbaric," and Isabella goes, "I would think you'd find
this one.
You'd be interested in this one."
Yeah.
And then she gets this look of dread. She thinks that it's because of Heathcliff, but then she's like, "It's a woman," and so she's
we're gonna hang a woman.
So that would be very unique.
She's a witch.
That's. Yeah, but that would be very odd for the times, even to have a woman be hung.
Right.
And so that is, she breathes a sigh of relief, but it shows you how much she cares about Heathcliff. Yeah.
So he shows up and they start this torrid affair where they're basically just banging as often as they can.
Everywhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
Is there anything we describe as torrid that's not an affair?
The shopping mall, the store.
Oh my god. Did
They
you
still
see
have
that?
shopping
Like,
malls? Nobody's ever like,
A few.
there's one.
I took a torrid vacation.
Ooh,
You know,
that sounds
It's-
fancy.
there's certain words that only end up in association with other words.
That's fair.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. So, and she's pregnant, and she hasn't told Heathcliff that she's pregnant. And the affair is getting more and more intense, and the feelings are getting more and more intense. And
I believe the
finally-
word you're looking for is torrid.
It is. You're right.
Torrider.
Torrider. Torrider.
I saw them play live once.
And finally, Margot Robbie is like, "We gotta stop. Like, we can't keep doing this." And then, of course, what is he? Oh, he's like, "Yeah, okay, but I'm pretty sure your tongue was just in my mouth." So, you know, actually, that was another good line when all hell breaks loose, and what's the friend's name?
Joseph, the stable guy?
No,
or
no,
What
no,
friend?
the Margot Robbie's friend.
Oh, her lady in waiting, basically?
Yeah.
Nelly?
Lily.
Nelly.
Nelly.
When Nelly basically is like, "You got to get your together," they kind of have a falling out. We find out that Nelly somehow Nelly is involved. Oh, Nelly, that's what it is.
Kathy basically tries to fire Nelly,
Yeah,
and Nelly's like, "But you're a woman, so that's not real."
Right.
And she goes to Edgar,
which is
and-
also, I thought that she was so dumb. She being Margot Robbie was so
Yeah.
dumb
To
because
fire the person that knows her secret
Yeah,
about
I was
Heathcliff.
just like,
It's
what are
so-
you doing?
I don't know if that happens in the book, but this is a really dumb plot point.
Yeah.
Like you would fire somebody who knows all of your secrets.
who could blow your shit up.
Yeah.
But that's Kathy for you. That's what I'm saying. Is she is a child. She is a petulant, whiny, entitled child, and she would think that she can just do anything.
Well, that's what it was. That's when
and it's like, no,
Heathcliff says, he's like, "Yeah, I heard you talking to
Nelly.
Nelly, and this is what happened." And that's
It
when
was getting hot in
that's when
here.
Kathy realizes that Nelly kind of set it up.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to
And
fire.
then she goes to fire.
And then we think, she walks.
Nelly's like,
into-
all right, I'll go
Yeah,
talk
go
to Edgar on
to
the
him.
way out.
And of course, she does talk to him. And I thought she was like, "Okay, I'll go, but I'm gonna blow your world up."
So
first."
Edgar essentially, we don't see it, but Edgar tells Nelly that she's going to be his eyes and ears. Basically, don't let Heathcliff anywhere near her. I have to believe that she basically said, don't let her and Heathcliff get close. And Edgar
explains
is
the
like,
burning
you
of
take
the
care of
notes.
this. Burning the letters,
'cause
do all.
Edgar
Yeah.
really shifts after this, and like he gets what's going on. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But
so,
shifts in a totally explainable and understandable way. He doesn't start beating people. He doesn't
Right,
start
yeah.
to, he's just like, oh, my wife is doing what? Like, I'm not cool
My
with
pregnant
this.
wife?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So he's in the right. I mean, he is the best character, I think, in this movie. Like, he's a good person.
Yeah.
He
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
ever do anything.
Especially for the time.
For the
frame.
time, yes.
Like, I mean, honestly, he's fine by the
For now.
present day. Like, the idea that someone would behave like this in the 1840s,
Yeah.
honestly, strains credulity.
Yeah, exactly. It does.
But I do like the line when Nelly and Kathy are going back and forth, and Kathy says, "You love to see me cry," and Nelly says, "Not as much as you love crying."
Love crying.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
it's so
dang!
That is such a good line, and again explains the character of Kathy. None of these characters in the book are likable, and I think that's what they get right. Nelly, you're mad at because of her actions and Nelly is like a little conniving behind the scenes. She is a disturber because of how she feels jealous of
Right.
everything, right? So like none of them are likable until you get to the kids at the end of the book, right? And so the movie does portray them all as bad people,
Yeah.
Essentially.
Nelly's
other than
Nelly's
Edgar.
out there spitting bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they end up breaking
So Heathcliff is like, well, I'm gonna go take Isabella then
Yeah.
after this, right?
And
Because he's
he-
like,
Yeah, he goes and he was like, "I'm gonna treat you like," and do you want me to stop? And she's like, no.
He asked her like 5 times of different. He's like, everything's laid out here,
And then
she's
finally,
like,
he does marry her.
yeah.
And he was like, you can
At
kiss
like
the
a
bride.
like a
And
Vegas
he
wedding kind of
walks
thing,
out,
like
leaves her at the altar, and he's like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, see ya, and just
Yeah.
walks out.
But right, this is like a Vegas drive-through wedding. Like people are walking in, and then there's a guy walking out as they're walking in. He's like, "I just married you, didn't I?"
What are you,
Like,
what are you
it's
crying for? I just married you.
horrible. Like obviously he got her pregnant or something, and she's just like all upset. And
Right.
he's like,
So now Kathy has basically,
no one.
she secluded herself to her room, and she won't come out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have.
Well,
I'm glad we did this remotely because I have the flu.
Oh no. Oh okay. Oh well,
Bella
glad
had
you're-
it, and now I've got it. So I'm
Oh
just,
Jesus.
fighting
Okay.
my way through this.
But essentially, she's like, she can't see Heathcliff. She's obviously very distraught over that. And Nelly's like to Edgar, she's like, she needs some time to like figure her stuff out. She goes up to her room and never leaves.
Yeah, and never leaves.
She's so
And
depressed.
She
over
kind
the
of
whole
goes
thing.
crazy because Nelly walks in. She's like, "Look, you have to eat something." She's like, "You have blah blah," and she's talking about the baby, and she's like, "The baby's dead. Like, there's no baby."
Well, you think she's gone crazy and she's delusional from not eating or drinking, but she says the baby's gone, and Nelly just doesn't believe her and thinks she's being over
because
dramatic.
there's no blood.
as per the usual.
There's no
Right.
discharge. There's no nothing. So
Right.
I mean, the baby, I assume.
But Nelly could have, as she explains later, she could have taken some steps to check that she's okay, right? Like she could have, but Nelly is mad at her and again, still jealous and still angry at her for trying to fire her, all that stuff. And she's just basically like, yeah, whatever, shut up, just eat and leaves.
Yeah,
she
ends up-
totally disregards it.
she ends up pulling the covers back and looking at
Later,
yeah.
much later when she comes back.
yeah, because Catherine's never leaving the room.
Yeah, and she pulls the covers back and she has sepsis.
Oh yeah, her legs are like gone, not gone, but
Yeah.
like they're poisoned.
Yeah, she's infected. She can't move because she says we need to
She's
get
got
you
a
out
dead
of bed.
baby inside of her.
Yeah,
Like,
and,
that's-
and Kathy's like, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah,
good luck.
And she's laughing, and I was like, oh god, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And she pulls, then
yeah,
and Kathy ends up like this is kind of the end of Kathy. Like
yeah.
she bleeds out.
And you did just brush over the part of, and we kind of alluded to that Isabella's like tied up, barking like a
Yeah,
dog on chained up.
There
and
is
stuff.
this, like you think that he definitely is. Heathcliff is treating her horribly.
Yeah.
But then there's a moment where he's like, write this letter to Kathy. And she's like, oh, I'll write it. But you got to be nice to me afterwards.
Yeah.
And like the way she says it, you're like, oh,
I think
you may have tapped into
that's
something there, bud.
I think that is the clue to like what Tom was saying, that yes, maybe he was a little bit brainwashing her, but also she's very into it because she's like, yeah, you got to be nice to me. And, oh, you can't read. She's giving it back to him.
When
like,
she snaps back and she was like, you know what, you write it. Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
You're a
like,
dummy.
Yeah, that was great.
and that is I think what tells you that she's not completely the victim here, or even maybe a victim at all, based on the way she does talk to him. Because if she was really a victim, I think she'd be scared to say that,
Sure,
especially to a man at the time that's in control of the estate and everything.
Well, there are a lot of people into BDSM that say the submissive is actually the dominant,
That
because
is absolutely true.
if you're doing it properly, then they kind of set the guidelines.
The
so
submissive one is the one that sets the rules
right
and sets
so,
the boundaries. So
Yeah,
So it was an interesting
who's really
look
the
at like
no, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
who's really the dom.
Yeah.
Who's really the horn dog?
Yeah. But Nelly basically shows up and is like, hey, I'm going to take you back, Isabella, and you got to stop this craziness that's going
You know
on.
what? Actually, there's a brilliant part. I don't use that term a lot with this movie because it is boring.
Okay.
But there is a moment in this when Heathcliff is going to the door, and you hear a bark, and he like kicks,
Yeah.
and he was like, God, shut up. And you think it's a dog. And then you get the pan back, and it's like, oh no,
She's
it's this
chained up.
human. It's like something out of a horror movie.
No, Isabella's chained up with like big chains around a collar, and she's on all fours, but she's into it. She's barking, and then
Yeah.
Nelly says, I'm going to take you home. And she goes, I am home.
Right.
And she likes it. She looks like she's really into it.
Correct.
So Nelly leaves.
Yeah.
And then, but you said like Kathy is very sick. So does she go back, or someone
She
goes to tell
back and
Heathcliff?
she bleeds out, and
Yeah.
and then
he
Nelly-
starts fearing, like Tom says, he rides for days to the place
Yeah,
5
yeah.
miles away that Kathy traverses
Full
back
speed,
and forth
full speed.
throughout the movie, but he's running and can't get there in time. But you know what? It's hard to tell with time, though, because obviously we don't see her walking for 3 hours to get there. But like with him riding the horse furiously, it's still 5 miles is going to take, you know what I mean? That's going to take what, an hour on a horse or something. So like seeing him furiously riding for 15 seconds, like that's going to happen during an hour-long trip. But to cut it back and forth like that, it is weird because they show time differently. Like walking seems to take quicker than what they show the horse riding, but I don't think they're saying that. It's just the way it's edited, right? It's like just weird.
Right. And then,
but anyway, he's furiously riding
Kathy's
back.
Husband, like he gets there, and Kathy's husband,
Edgar's standing in the doorway, like
here's the thing,
just kind of
like,
shaking his head.
And he could very well be like, "You're not coming in my house."
Right, it's his house.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But he like reaches out to him, knowing that they both love this woman. This woman is dead, and he kind of like reaches out and puts his hand on his shoulder. And of course, Heathcliff, being the scumbag that he is, like pushes
Get away
him
from
out
me!
of
I'll
the
kill
way.
you.
And,
But Edgar kind of then holds him and embraces him.
he
and
tries to, but
Yeah.
Heathcliff like throws him out of the way because this man is a giant.
Yeah. But it just shows you Edgar is such a gentleman and such a good person that he knows that Heathcliff loved Kathy, even beyond the relationship and affair stuff. Like they grew up together. He knows
And he
that
says,
they
"You
loved
don't
one
wanna- you don't wanna
another.
see this."
And
You
yeah,
don't
and he
wanna go
says,
in
"You don't
there."
want to go in there." And he says, "Whatever," and runs up there in disbelief.
Right, and then there's this
And
moment. With,
she's
dead,
very pale,
and she's dead.
very
She
dead.
dead.
Yeah.
Then we get kind of like a montage of their past together, and then the movie.
And it shows you, but the really sweet moment,
right,
like as kids, it cut before we saw this part, but it goes and shows them as kids. And he says in the beginning, after the dad is drunk and whips him, he says, "Just stay with me." And she does. And then when he's asleep, or no, sorry, he thinks she's asleep.
Correct.
And he's like, "I'll love you forever, Kathy," whatever. And then they pan to the little
she
girl
smiles.
and she smiles. So she heard it. So like, from that moment as kids, they really did love each other, and it's again that star-crossed lovers thing.
There have been this theater I saw it last night about 6 o'clock, sold out, like completely sold out. There have been maybe a handful of times when a movie ends and it is just quiet, like there's
Were
no
they sobbing in this
there
one?
was definite
Pretty-
sobbing, like
yeah.
I could hear it around me.
It's a tragic story for sure.
And you know, as much as I did not care for this movie because it was so boring, I do always appreciate when a movie can invoke a reaction out of
That's what
someone.
art's supposed to do, right? Like good or bad, you feel something, you talk about it like we do every week. Like we talk about great movies, good movies, bad movies. Like it gets you talking and thinking
The timing,
about all this
the
stuff.
the timing release of this is very smart.
Oh yeah, Valentine's Day,
Valentine's
genius.
Day, like it, you know, not going up against anything else. Like I don't know that any other movie was like, let's hedge our bets on Valentine's Day and go up against this interpretation of women's rights.
Didn't the Crime 101 kind of is the counter programming?
Probably. I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean,
Right? Like if you don't
listener
want to go see the romance movie, see the action.
Matt Reedy said
crime.
that he and his wife flipped a coin and ended up going to Crime 101. Yeah, and I think Promising Young Woman is brilliant.
Oh,
I
it's so
love
good.
that movie.
Yeah.
What was the
I
other
think
one she did?
Saltburn was great.
Saltburn was good. It is weird.
It is weird, but I
is
loved it.
weird.
Like Barry Keoghan is so weird in that movie.
so
and I love
weird,
it.
and he-
I love it.
It's a bunch of dirt.
So weird.
So weird.
But I'm telling you, man, I just, don't give me the 20th remake or whatever. Like, just give me weird original stuff. I love it.
Yeah, it's weird. This also, like I said, it's to me it was very boring, and it was hard to attach to anyone. Like at least in Saltburn, like Barry Keoghan is normal to a point, and then it's like, oh no, I've invested my emotions in this guy, and now he's crazy too.
Yeah.
And Promising Young Woman, you're with.
But Saltburn's like a eat the rich thing though too though, because like
Very much
like
so.
and that's what she does is get you to question like who are the good people and who are the bad people, and even if they are rich and evil, do they deserve to be killed, taking their wealth
that's
away,
Promising Young
whatever?
Woman, right?
I mean, but right, you
Promising
question
Young
it. It's
Woman is-
ambiguous. It's like good and bad, and like does one counter the other? Like just because you're bad, do you deserve to have bad things happen to you, and vice versa? So it's a really interesting examination, I think.
Yeah. There you go.
But
The movie ends.
I think people are, like I said before, if you love the book, there's nothing wrong with that. I understand, but anyone adapting a book like this or any other great novel has a really hard job, and I think that Emerald Fennell captured the essence of the story, at least the part one of the story, and like told it and said what I think a lot of what the book says, but you can't do the whole thing without the part two.
Do you think?
And that's
do you
where,
think if this makes enough money, they do part two?
I just don't know how they do it. I mean, they would have to. I don't.
Oh, I
Yeah,
guess
I mean,
that's right.
one,
She
they-
loses the baby.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
loses the baby, so they painted
Yeah.
themselves into a corner. They
That's
really
fair.
can't.
I
But
think she did that to not. She doesn't want to do a part two. She
Neither did
Uh,
wants
John
to tell.
Carpenter, but they're like, by the way, we're bringing them back.
Yeah. I love that.
Somehow
When,
the baby survived.
Yeah, right.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's fine on its own because it's still telling a story that says a lot of the same things. And if someone really wants to do it, and even Emerald Fennell said, she's like, if I really want to adapt the whole story, I would need a miniseries, and like that's not what she's making. So someone needs to do a modern miniseries that has the budget and they can really tell the whole story. And I think that's what people want, the book readers want.
I will say I'm kind of interested in reading the book now.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds better than this movie. I'll tell you that.
It's like I said, scholars. It was not received well in the 1800s because it was very provocative and saying a lot of things at the time. Like she even had to write it under a pseudonym because a first-time author woman putting this book out, I think, was like a little ahead of the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
But it's known now, like retroactively, people consider it one of the greatest books ever written in the English language. So I think it's worth. I mean, people fall in love with it for a reason. It's worth a read. I haven't read it. I saw a documentary on Wuthering Heights at one point, and I looked into the book after that. But it's been years and years, and I think it's worth a read if you've never read it for sure.
Awesome. Well, I guess that's it for this one. We go around the virtual table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21, and on all other social medias at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at KevinRBrackett.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon, $5 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, George commits suicide.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you.